Hey guys, this is Pamela with Pamela's Tarot Tales, and I am recording day 10 of 31 Days of Tarot for 2019 by Anthony Dawn. I will continue to link her original video post about prompts and everything for that. So today's prompt will be tarot decks that I want to work with more in 2019. Okay, you guys, seriously, I want to work with all of them. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how many decks, probably shouldn't say, but, you know, actually there are some that I don't really want to work with, but I'm actually thinking about moving those along. I haven't decided yet because I like to know that I've worked with a deck enough to really truly know that I'm not going to work with it again. And I don't feel like I've done that with my decks. So anyway, a lot of the decks I have shown already. I'm going to show you about 12 or 13, or talk about 12 or 13. I'm not going to show you all of them because I've already shown them in my top 5, or I showed them in other videos. So the first one, and these aren't in any order, but I'm going to kind of mix up some of the ones I'm going to show you and some of the ones that I'm not going to show you. So the first one is the Brady Tarot, and I did show that in my top 5. So, and I have a walkthrough of that video you can check out. I'm excited. I really want to work with that deck. There's so many reasons why, but anyway, the next one, again, not in any order, but it's the Textured Tarot by Lisa McLaughlin. And you guys, I literally just got this deck for Christmas. This was my gift, my one thing that I asked for. And I haven't gone through it yet, other than just looking through it. And here's how I work with decks when I first get them. I often have to spend a little bit of time with them, and then I'm ready to use them. Some people can work with them right out of the gate, and I wish I was that way, but I'm just not. So I respect that process, and I know that about myself, and I give myself that allowance, and I think that's perfectly fine. But this deck is so beautiful, and I am so excited that I have it in my collection. I'm so excited to actually use it and work with it and explore the imagery, explore the textures, the surfaces, the imagery, the meanings, see how it reads. You know, I see other people working with this deck, and it stalked me for a while. I mean, seriously, it was everywhere, and I was like, I gotta have that. So, and I still felt that way by the time Christmas came around. I was like, yeah, I'm still excited about this deck. So that's the good news. Because sometimes things on our wish list, they come and go, and they don't resonate, or we get that, I don't know, that want to just jump on the bandwagon. But this deck for me is not that. So I'm excited to actually work with it. I haven't even pulled cards yet. So anyway, you get the idea. It's pretty awesome. I adore this queen. I just adore this queen. I mean, this is like, okay, now I can understand what the Queen of Wands is like, who she is, what her character is, what her personality is. And there's not many decks that do that for me, to see the court cards as actual people and the energies of that person as a person. But it makes it relatable, but it doesn't make it locked into a certain type either. It doesn't, you know, I can still read it as the archetypal energies of that court. So I'm excited to explore that. So that's one deck. All right, another one is the Wild Unknown. I just got that deck, and again, you guys have seen it. It's been around for quite a while. It's one that everybody knows, but I just got it, so I haven't even, you know, other than just flip through it, make sure all the cards are there. I haven't really worked with it. So another one that I just got is Starchild Tarot. This is the Akashic version. It is the bordered edition. I was so fortunate to get this from a friend of mine who she just wasn't going for it, wasn't reading with it, and it was kind of a challenging deck for her. Well, not that she couldn't read it, but just the fact that it wasn't one that she loved and was pulling for, and we all have those. So I have done just a couple of readings with this deck, and I know that the Moon Child is out, and it's not one that it's one that I waver back and forth on, and the same with the Starchild. I've wavered back and forth on it for a long time, but I've done a few readings with it here recently, and I love it. I'm falling in love with it. So I'm excited to see how that develops and grows this year for me. And I'm curious if the Moon Child will then be on my wish list, you know, because it's beautiful as well. And it kind of, maybe, you know, but the goal for me this year is to work with the decks that I already have, more so than getting more decks. So another one is the Vivre Tarot, the Tarot of Jacques Vivre, and I've shown that twice now in 2 videos, so you guys are kind of familiar with that. Another one is the Jour de Vivre Tarot. You know, guys, I've had this deck for a few years now, and I used it. It's one of my first. It's actually this one and Tarot of the Animal Lords I bought these decks at the same time, and they were my very first decks. And I adore this little deck, and I just don't use it much anymore. So I think it's just because a lot of new decks have come in my life, and I think that it's a beautiful little deck. It's got a lot to say and good for many different things as far as reading categories. So I'm excited to come back to it and see how it's changed, or not how I've changed and how my reading style's changed and can grow with this deck. So anyway, let's see how that goes. Fun little deck. And okay, the next one is again, these aren't in any order particularly, but the next one is La Corte de Tarrochi. I used it pretty extensively for the first half of this year, and then other decks came in, and I wanted to explore those. And that's a deck that's, again, a forever deck, and I want to use it. I don't want to just sit in here. Okay, another one that I got this year was the Bharata Major Arcana. And I don't use a lot of Major Arcana decks. Actually, this is the only one that I own. And that's backwards, but it's a deck that, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. And I mean, the backs are really pretty. So I don't know, you know, I like it, and I think that I just need to work with it, and it fits some of my ideologies about things and my spiritual path, and so I think it'll be good to really explore and work with more, you know. And so, and there's lots of resources on working with majors only decks and playing with that, and I think I just need to be in a more playful kind of mindset about it. It's upside down. But it's a neat little deck. And I do have a reading in my shop that uses this deck. It's a Majors on Majors or something like that. So check that out and give me an opportunity to use it, you guys. I'm excited for that. So I think just figuring out how I work with Majors only decks is going to be important to really cement this one for me. So the next one, oh, I forgot to pull one out. Do that while I'm thinking about it. Okay. The next one is Haindl Tarot, or Haindl, however you pronounce it. I think it's technically Haindl, but I don't know. This deck was gifted to me by Maria from Sacred Heart Tarot. She made this awesome bag for it, which is amazing, and it's felt lined. But is it getting a little dark in here? Let's see if that helps the lighting. I don't know. I think that's a little better. So this deck, I've read with it a few times and I really like it. There's so much to know and study with this deck. There's lots of layers of information. I've got 2 of the 3 books that are written by Rachel Pollack for this deck, and I just haven't put forth the time to devote to it. But I think it would be really good for me. It's a really powerful, really strong reader. Even reading it intuitively and not knowing everything about it, and not knowing, even reading it as Thoth, I just read it intuitively, and it's pretty awesome. So, but knowing that it can be studied and worked with and developed more, it's a little intimidating, but it's I don't know, it's really rich. So I'm excited for that. The next one is Dark Days Tarot. And this is a square deck that's intended to be read in all 4 directions, which is a really neat concept. When I do read with it, I do tend to try to employ that aspect of it. So this deck probably doesn't show up the best on camera, but it is beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. I do enjoy reading with it. It's just not one I reach for often, but I really want to spend some time working with it more, because I think it's pretty awesome. I love the artwork. So the minors are all on the black background. The majors are on white. So anyway, that is Dark Days. Okay, the next one is Margarete Petersen, and this is what I just haven't made time for. It also seems a little overwhelming. I trimmed it. It just hasn't been a focus, and I don't know if it necessarily will be this year or not. It's not a deck that I'm ready to get rid of. It's definitely one that I want to learn and work with and do, I guess, what they call path working or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to use this deck, but I know that I'm excited that I will use it. I just don't know if it'll be this year, but it is gorgeous. but I'm open to it being this year. So as you can see, I've got a lot of decks that I want to work with, and I don't know that I'll get to all of them, but I tend to just take that intuitively as well, and what the gut calls for, and what the reading calls for, and what the subject matter calls for, and the client, and whether it's for myself or someone else. And so, you know, I listen to those things. And the other one is the Star Tarot, which I did show in my top 5. So I'd like to continue working with it. As far as Oracle decks, I have the Claire de la Lune. Yes. And that one I will be working with for 2019. I did show that in my top 5 Oracle decks. I will continue to work with some affirmation decks for daily draws for putting in my bullet journal as inspiration. I did that for this year, for 2018, and I found that when I did it, I really enjoyed that aspect, and I really enjoyed visually seeing that in my bullet journal. So I'll do that. The next little deck I want to work with is Seeds of Shakti by Sharon Basanti. I really like this deck. It's really cool, and there's a lot more depth to it than it appears to have. But it's I don't know. It's got a lot of. I get a lot of intuitive hits from this, and a lot of information, and but short enough that I don't get overwhelmed, which is good. So I just want to see how I can better work with it. I think it will fit some of these decks that I'm working with, some of the color schemes, some of the themes. This is part of my spiritual practice, and so working with these gods, Shiva and Hanuman, and working with a lot of animal energies, and working with the chakras, and so I want to figure out ways to do that for this deck that gets more into a regular practice for me. Working with combining decks, working with new moon and full moon rituals, and working with own personal rituals. So that was Seeds of Shakti by Sharon Basanti. And okay, the last one I'm going to show. Oh, there's one. Okay, before I show the last one, there's a deck that I have that is being sent to me by Sage from Sincerely Sage. She hasn't sent it to me yet, but it is coming probably next week, at least hopefully. And that one is called the Moon Deck or something along those lines. And I did a trade for that, so I'm anxious to see it and see if it's something that will work well for me this year. I think it will. So excited to get it and look at it. And the last one I'm going to show for today is Whispers of Lord Ganesha. And this deck is amazing. It's just so profound. The book is so well written. Intuitively, I pick up on the messages that are written, but reading them helps to cement it and give another depth, another layer, a different way of speaking about it. But it's a great deck. And again, this kind of working with the pantheon that I'm working with in my spirituality. So I think this is a great reader deck. It's a great, like, combining with tarot to get overall energies or a wrap-up energy, or, what to call on for support. It's great for kind of some ritual work. It's great for meditation. It's great for reading a spread. I mean, it's just an amazing deck. So I really want to spend more time with it this year. And I'm saying that about like a bazillion decks, but those are the goals. And also the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal. I think I've shown that one for sure, and I think I mentioned that I wanted to work more with it. So lots to keep me busy, you guys. I think it's amazing, and I'm so blessed to have such a collection. And you know, I was gifted a lot of these, and I was able to purchase some of these as well, and I am so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful that I want to continue working with these. I'm grateful that I want to build a relationship and rapport with these decks so that I can then extend that as a service to others. So yeah. All right, so that's a lot of decks. I will go through and list them and have them listed below so that you can see them easily. And I have walkthroughs on several of these decks, but not all of them. And anyway, that was my day 10 of tarot decks that I want to work with more in 2019. Have a great day, and I will see you guys soon.